श्वेतपद्मासना श्वेतपुष्पोपशोभिता श्वेताम्बरधरा श्वेतगन्धानुलेपना श्वेताक्षसूत्रहस्ता श्वेतचन्दनचर्चिता श्वेतवीणाधरा श्वेतालङ्कारभूषिता श्वेतहंसगामिनी श्रीशारदा शारदा नमामि। जयति जय जय मा सरस्वती जयति वीणावादिनी मा जयति जय जय मा सरस्वती जयति वीणावादिनी मा जयति पुस्तकधारिणी जय जयति जय जय शारदे मा जयति जय जय मा सरस्वती। सप्त स्वर सप्त सिंधु में उठे सप्त स्वर सप्त सिंधु में उठे छिड़े तव मधुर श्याम संगीत सप्त स्वर सप्त सिंधु में उठे छिड़े तव मधुर श्याम संगीत तार वीणा के तुझंकार जयति जय जय शारदे माँ जयति जय जय माँ सरस्वती। तमहरो अज्ञान कामा मुखर वाणी हो मेरी तमहरो अज्ञान कामा मुखर वाणी हो मेरी काव्य सुर सरिता बहा दे जयति जय जय शारदे माँ जयति जय जय मा सरस्वती जयति वीणावादिनी मा जयति पुस्तकधारिणी जय जयति जय जय शारदे मा.
Another wonderful bhajan from you. Very nice. Thank you.
Pranam Swamini ji. Thank you.
Om, Om. Thank you. Is the picture and all okay, Chitra? Everything okay?
It's hazy, Swamiji. Swamiji.
Yeah, that's what I also thought. Let me rub the screen. Maybe it will help. That's what I was taught to do. Is that better now? Still hazy?
No, still.
Okay, maybe the lighting.
Yeah.
The lighting perhaps. Now?
In between it was a little better.
Let's try to get this right.
No,
It's worse now.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see now. Okay.
Yeah, that is better.
अभी कैसा है? ठीक है?
अभी
Okay.
better.
Okay, thank you. चलो.
There is a humming sound, Swamini ji. Sorry.
Yeah, that's because we only need so hum, no ho hum here. Okay, done. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavāvahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Let us go back to the Upanishad text. Not not the vārtika yet, because we have to do our placement. We have to see where we are placed, and so it will be nice to check in with the text, because we have to go a little further to keep up with the vārtika. And so, we had finished at mantra number 2, which was what? Yatha eva upakaranavatam jivitam tathaiva te jivitam syat amritatvasya tu na asha asti vittena iti. This is what Yajnavalkya had said. There is no hope of immortality. There is no hope of understanding the I without what? Without the knowing the with the help of wealth. Wealth is not a direct means of our knowledge. It can help you get some punya. It can help you do other things. Maybe you'll be comfortable, and then that will help you seek the knowledge. But still, it is not a substitute for knowledge. Maitreyi was told. Now, going further, Maitreyi says a few things, and Maitreyi says in mantra number 3, and let us look at mantra number 3 for that. Okay, you can repeat. Sa hovāca Maitreyi, sa hovāca Maitreyi, yenaham namritasyam, yenaham na amritasyam, kim aham te na kuryam, किमहं तेन कुर्याम यदेव भगवान् वेद तदेव मे ब्रूहि इति यदेव भगवान् वेद तदेव मे ब्रूहि इति. So now we don't see a wife speaking. We see a student speaking. And I told you that the transformation is complete with this particular mantra. Sa hovāca, she who was addressed as such by Yajnavalkya, she who was told that there is no hope of immortality through money, what was she, what did she say? She indeed said, Maitreyi said, Yena aham, by which I na amritasyam, by which I will not be immortal, kimaham tena kuryam, what will I do with that, with the help of which I will not be immortal? Well, because I'm surrounded by the perishable, I'm looking for the imperishable. And then, I don't know yet that the imperishable is myself alone. And on top of that, to make it more confusing, you are going off also for the sake of the imperishable, to abide in the imperishable. But then you are giving me these loads of money and cattle and horses and whatnot, mules and, land, real estate, all these things. Then, if that, and then that's why I asked you, is this going to help me is this going to make me, immortal? And you said unequivocally, no, no. And so then she says, what are we doing here? And she addresses him as Bhagavan. Before it was Bhavan. Bhavan is a respectful address for the husband, and even the husband will address her as Bhavati, but here, which is a respectful address for the wife, but here from Bhavan, a ga is added, Bhagavan. Ga for Guru, So this shows, because we in the tradition we revere the teacher. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. We revere the teacher who is the source of knowledge as an incarnation of Ishvara, primarily because of what we talked earlier in the in the evening class about the subjectivity not coming into the teaching situation. We don't allow the inner virochana to fly high and hijack the teaching. This is why, you don't focus on the personality of the teacher. You focus on the parampara, and you focus on the person who is the teacher, and that same person is revealed as you, Purusha. Purusha eva idagam sarvam. This is how the knowledge is. That's why it's so wonderful. You don't hang on to one person. It's not about the personality. It's about the person that needs to be discovered as whole, and the guru becomes a placeholder for, for being a manifestation of the walking, talking vision that you are still about to or in the process of understanding. That's what the whole thing is. So the guru says, just, is like a bookmark, holds the place for you till you get to that place on your own with the help of the teaching. And so therefore she changes, to Bhagavan. Yadeva Bhagavan Veda, Tadeva me Bruhi. Whatever Bhagavan knows, whatever, this Bhagavan knows, Bhagavan here means Ishvara. You are like Ishvara to me, not because you're my husband, but because now I'm looking up to you to gain this knowledge, which I don't have any other means of, and I have chosen you as the instrument for this knowledge. You have been chosen by me as the teacher, so please teach me. And so then she says, what will I do with this money? If you are not wanting this money, how can you think that I will want this money? And if you are getting rid of this money, then, you better understand that I also want to get rid of this money. In fact, if you are going to the forest for contemplation, then, I will also want to do the same. I will also want to contemplate. If going to the forest is not an option because I'm a woman, I'll contemplate right here. Let me also have this knowledge. Because, she says one more thing. In the Vārtika, we skipped that verse. She says, look, you cannot contemplate on something you don't know. And you cannot revel on something that is a source of sorrow. If you've had some traumatic experience, if a person has had some traumatic experience, what would they like to do? Quickly forget it. Quickly go do something else. Change this channel, do something else. Forget it. Call a friend, do something to just forget it. They don't want to keep on reveling in it. In fact, they want to put that away. Sometimes the mind doesn't let go. The mind is not reveling in it, it's rehearsing it. So when you revel in something, it's always pleasant. Oh, that nice holiday we had. Where? Before all this stupid corona, of course. And now what does Corona say? Kuch bhi mat karo na. Don't do anything at all. Just stay in place. Everybody become Maitreyi and become Vedantin. That's the only option. That's why I call it Karuna virus. It, you know, it just helps you to just be, stationary, stay in place. And then, so then you're thinking wistfully of a nice, the last time you were with people, real live people, hugging them, touching them, and without this, what is that, face covering, without mask and all these things. So you are reminiscing on a holiday. You're reminiscing being in a family reunion, in a reunion with your friends, and you have gone here, gone there, done this, done that. That's because it is giving you pleasure. You can only revel in something that makes you happy. So Atma is the cause of revelry because it makes you happy. And if you don't know Atma, how are you going to revel in an unknown Atma? An unknown Atma is not a cause for revelry because you don't know what it is. Like if I told you that in Mars there is something there, not even in our planet, in Mars, 6 months it takes to go, because they now we have all these rovers. Rover is the name of the what is that, the American Mangalayan is called Rover. you know American Mars bound whatever is called Rover. So first Curiosity rover went, and then it stayed there, took photos, and then it was very cheeky. It would also take selfies and send. It took selfies, it took photos of itself, it took photos of the landscape and sent. Now Curiosity, I don't know, I think it's still there, but it has been joined by Patience, the Perseverance Rover. A new rover has been sent, and its name is Perseverance, meaning it will not come back until the job is done of mapping entire Mars terrain. Okay, so this is what it is. So now this whole thing shows us what, that if you didn't know, I mean, what is there to like in Mars? I don't know. I mean, Curiosity rover sent a few snapshots, and it all looks very bare and barren and red, because all naturally it's a red planet. But from the standpoint of an astronomer, a geologist, they are very, very thrilled because they know this is their subject matter. They say, oh, this is inorganic something. There is iron there. There are these chemicals there. And then we see some just hazy things. They are ecstatic, though. This is frozen river. This is a frozen ocean. And they who know can revel in all the pictures that these Curiosity rover, Perseverance rover keeps sending. You know. So for us, it is just some red rocks. What? How can we revel in it? We don't know anything about it. It's like like the first time when people go to get an ultrasound. The first ultrasound after pregnancy. And then the radiologist can see, oh, you have a healthy baby, wonderful. And what are you seeing? You're seeing, oh my God, you know. And the person who is pregnant, the parents to be, look and say, what is this? This is what is going to come out. What is this looking at? You can't revel in this because you don't have the knowledge of how to interpret the ultrasound photo. You don't know how to do that. Same thing with MRI. Same thing with these photos coming from Mars. Whereas the people who are experts in the field can revel in it endlessly. So likewise, Atma, if you don't know what is Atma, then how can you revel? Asti kaschit, swayam nityam. Yes, it is told that something is there, which is, aham pratyayālambanah. Asti kaschit swayam nityam, aham pratyayālambanam. Avasthatraya sakshi san. Panchakosha vilakshana. We can say, okay, asti kaschit, something is there. It is the witness of the body, mind, sense complex, Atma, I, and then it is, what is that? It is, it is the witness of all three states of experience: sleeping, waking. What else is there? What is the middle one? Dreaming. All that. It is the avasthatraya sakshi. It is the witness of all that. Panchakosha vilakshanaha. It is separate from all the places where you can make errors, such as that's what is called kosha. Koshavat achhadakatvat koshaha. So it is some kind of a, something separate from the body, from the mind, from the sense of doership, etc. This is Atma. Okay, what did you understand? And then how can you sit and revel in it? Because this is not something that the knowledge has been completely internalized. And so therefore what? So therefore the so therefore Maitreyi asks a very important question. You say you're giving me wealth, and you say you don't want the wealth, presumably because you also said there is no hope of gaining moksha, gaining this amritatvam through wealth. So obviously the wealth is of no use. But then, yet you are merrily going off into the sunset, leaving me behind with all this wealth. And so instead of giving me this wealth, please give me this knowledge. And that is what we are studying here in the what is it called? In the Vārtika. So the Vārtika, this is what we are studying. And here we saw 61 and 62, and so let us, and 63 we have already seen, but let us look at it once more. Anantavitto hi bhavan antavadiyate kutah asatah kidrisham danam sadeva tav pradiyatam. So, Anantavitto hi bhavan, you of infinite wealth. The wealth of the knowledge of the infinite is infinite wealth. You are the possessor of infinite wealth, and what are you doing? You are being a kanjus. You are being the most stingy fellow. You are giving me something perishable, and you are going with the imperishable. Not fair. Not fair, oh Bhagavan, oh Guru, oh venerable one, you cannot, do this to me. So therefore what? And then besides, what you are giving me is non-existent. Like yesterday I told you, Gandharva Nagari, here let me crown you the queen of this sky kingdom. What do you mean sky kingdom? There I don't see any kingdom. The sky kingdom means that there is a throne, there are people, there are animals. Where? In the shape of shape-shifting clouds. This is all what you get. And so Akasha Pushpavat, Akasha Pushpa is very, this is a classic Vedantic example that Adi Shankara uses also in the Taittiriya Upanishad to illustrate the concept of nothingness. Very beautiful example he uses, and he says, look, yati, means here is one wonderful person who is going. Kahayati, and mrigatrishnambhasnatah. The one who has come out is a young man. And who is this young man? He has taken a fresh bath in the mirage waters of the desert. Okay, what? Really? Okay. And then how else do I recognize him? He's taken a big deal. But how can you take bath in mirage water? There is no water. But that's the whole point. Here is this look, behold, this young man who has just emerged from a fresh bath in the mirage waters of the, Sahara desert. And then what? Okay, Mrigatrishnambha snatah, Khe pushpa shikharaha. So on his tuft in the head, he has put a wonderful fragrant flower. Oh really? Is it a rose? No. Is it a lily? No. What is it? It is a celestial flower that just happened to fall from the sky. A K pushpa, something, a space flower. Now he is sounding like a space cadet. Is this fellow even existent, you think? Mrigaprishnaambhasatah Khe Pushpa Shashishekharah, and then Khe Pushpa Shekharah, and then finally, he is the son of a woman. Okay, that we all know. Of course, every man is a son of a woman. So what's the big deal? Well, this woman is a woman who cannot have children, and of course, we are not talking of surrogacy. We are not talking of IVF treatment. We are just thinking of a woman who cannot have children. So this man is the son of a woman who cannot have children, and who has bathed in the mirage waters, and who is sporting a non-existent flower in the hair. So the whole thing is non existent. And so, what you are giving me in the form of this wealth is a big bundle of nothing. Don't give me nothing. Give me that one thing because of which everything else is gained. And you call this a donation? This is not a donation. Now, Yajnavalkya responds. He has been listening to her, and actually, he is just delighted with her. One would think that she has been so irreverent, and he would be mad, or he would be angry, or he would think that this is not very nice. You're not addressing me properly. No such thing. And you see, just like we had a flavor of Maitreyi's character and how freely she could talk to her husband, same way we have a look into Yajnavalkya's personality, and his abidance in the knowledge shines, like anything. We will see that. But first we come back to the text, mantra number 4. Text means not vārtika, Bṛhadāraṇyaka-Upaniṣad. Okay? सहोवाच रिपीट सहोवाच याज्ञवल्क्यः याज्ञवल्क्यः प्रियाबत प्रियाबत अरे नः अरे नः सती सती प्रियं भाषसे प्रियं भाषसे एहि एहि आस्व आस्व व्याख्यास्यामि ते व्याख्यास्यामि ते व्याचक्षाणस्य तु व्याचक्षाणस्य तु मे निदिध्यासस्व इति मे निदिध्यासस्व इति. The Upanishad, in its own inimitable way, very beautifully summarizes, again in short form, summarizes this, whatever Yajnavalkya has said, summarizes very beautifully. Let us look. Sahovacha. Yajnavalkya responds. Indeed, Yajnavalkya says. And what does he say? He is totally in love with her now, because whatever she is saying about the wanting this knowledge, it's just music to his ears. Perhaps he also had a shade of sadness, because he had to leave, and then he was going away, and then without even introducing anybody in his family with this knowledge. Nobody else in his family loves this knowledge as much as him. They don't even know, but okay, doesn't matter. Let them enjoy the wealth and be comfortable. So he was about to take off. But then he finds that Maitreyi is not only step in step with him, but her mind is his mind. She's one in tandem with his thought, with his speech, with his actions. She also wants to renounce. And this is what having a life partner is all about, right? You want them to be on the same page. And it pains when they are not. You wish for them to be agreeing with you. You wish for them to support you, not just from a distance. I'll wave goodbye with a hanky. Have a nice, get to know the Atma. Think of us sometimes. Bye. No. Here she is step in step with him. and her thinking is exactly like his thinking, and then he's already so much in love with her, and he is just ecstatic, he's just so happy. He keeps on showering her with compliments and sweet words of tenderness, sweet epithets of tenderness we get to hear from a serious Yajnavalkya, who moments ago said, I'm off with my little water pot and my little rolled up mat, I'm off to the Himalayas. And this person who was off, he's now really, just honing in into this conversation like never before. And let us see what he says. Priya Bata. Bata means darling. Priya means oh dearest one. Oh, you most, the dearest one to me. Priya Bata. Are, honey. We already saw that. Sati. Sati means you who is of the purest nature. Because you want this knowledge. That's why you are pure. The raga dveshas have not come in the way. Any other wife would have, turned on the fountain of waterworks and then blamed me, shamed me, and done all kinds of things. But look at you. You are right there with me. You're not only supporting me, you want to join me. This is amazing. And he says, Naha Sati, Naha means to me, to us, you are so wonderful, you are so lovely. And so, you are the purest soul there is, and you are my pure soul. Not only there is a kind of a an embrace of words here, which is very beautiful to see. You're my pure soul, but it also means what? There is only one Atma, and you are that, we are one. Not only because we have shared this life together, not only because we have borne children together, or put up a house together, or maintained the cattle together, but because we are one according to the vision of the Upanishads, which I want to keep on, contemplating upon. And so we are one, truly one, because my Atma, the I in you and the I in me, there is only one I. And you want to know this I, and now I also want to abide in this I. How beautiful that is, you know. So he's just ecstatic. This also shows that she's an unusual wife. For her times, she's ahead of her times, no doubt about it. And he's also ahead of his time. He's an unusual husband. Somebody else would have said, I have no time, I have to go. What do you mean? And you're not worthy of it. You know what is that? Go make some tea, or go do your work. After all, the kitchen is your kingdom. Go sit in your kingdom. And you can do little bit of puja, something like that. In those days, that is how it used to be, the division of labor. But look at how advanced he is. This is the blessing of Atma Jnanam. Look at how wonderful, look at how, gorgeous this whole response is. And, and then he says, Priyavata are naha sati. Oh, you purest being on earth, who belongs to me, who is one with me already, not even belongs, there is no possession, there is just oneness between us. And we are truly one, not just because we are married and on paper and we have a certificate, and not because of that. We are truly one. And now we are one in a way that nothing can take us apart, because we are one in the only way that matters, because we have understood the need to understand it, the need to abide in this Atma. I have understood that, and now, even without any prompting on my side, you have understood that as well. And he praises her. Priyam bhashase. You are talking very sweet things to me. You know, in regular couples, what is sweet talk? Sweet talk is validating one another, a mutual appreciation society. Oh, you are really good, you are great, and the other one says you are great. That's why people get married or get into a partnership, because you need at least one person who will approve of you, at least one person. And that's why the institution of marriage is so holy. You need at least one person who will say, who will put up with you, including your snoring and your bad habits and all kinds of things, who will put up with you almost, I have to put this, almost unconditionally. Of course, there'll be conditions, but more or less, you are accepted, and so therefore you can kind of relax. And that is the beauty of this partnership called marriage. But the marriage is so, in the Hindu marriage is for the sake of self discovery, because it's very difficult to do it on one's own. Therefore, one needs help, and that's why the Hindu marriage becomes a means for moksha. We have a beautiful ritual in South Indian weddings. The wedding is underway. The bride to be has to be brought into the marriage hall by the mama, the uncle. And then the groom has a crazy idea in his head. He has to declare, this is part of the ritual which is enacted in every wedding, okay? So he has to declare, you know what, I'm not going to get married. I'm going to Varanasi, I'm going to Kashi. In fact, the ritual is called Kashi Yatra. I'm going off. Kashi is where in the north, okay? And this is a South Indian wedding. And so I'm going to Kashi. And then, when I was small and I would go to so many people's weddings, and then I would think, this is so unfair. And here he's giving this fellow is giving the parents of the bride a heart attack. Here the bride is getting ready and she's about to come out. And this idiot, why couldn't he have thought of this earlier? This is how I used to think when I was small. But then the more I delved into this teaching, the more I understood. I just feel it's like a phenomenal ritual. Kashi is north. North stands for moksha. And Kashi nobody goes except for spiritual teachings. To be free. That's why Kashi is full of elderly people and sadhus. Half of them are elderly people wearing white, and the other half are wearing orange. This is Varanasi, aka Kashi for you. Nobody else goes there. But so the young man is declaring, you know what, I am conflicted. I don't want this marriage. I don't want to be caught in samsara. I want to go and pursue Atmajnanam. And of course, the fellows doing this ritual now, they don't even know how to spell Atmajnanam, but this is the spirit of the ritual. Okay? This is the spirit of the ritual. Then the parents of the bride bribe him. They give him a suit, a watch, a coconut which is all dressed up, an umbrella. And then they say, they don't say don't go. This is very interesting when you look at the Kashi Yatra mantras. They don't say, don't go. You need to get married. How dare you? They don't say that. They say, you take her along. Because the road to Kashi is paved with thorns. It is not easy to do this kind of a resolve at such a young age. Imam Kanyam Su Alankritam. This beautifully dressed bride who's been waiting for you. Take her with you because her goal is also Kashi. Don't think you are the only one headed in Kashi, to Kashi. She will be your, sojourner. She will be your whatever it is, your wife, your spouse, and a, partner in this journey. Because it is very difficult to accomplish alone. The distractions are too many. The raga dveshas are too many. And then for every raga dvesha, there are so many things that come in the front and tempt. And it will derail you. So get to know each other. Commit to one another. Commit to one another for the sake of moksha. This is the Hindu marriage, and here you see this couple ideally embodying the Hindu marriage. It is just phenomenal. So the Hindu wedding is where marriage is not an end. If marriage is the end, it will end, I promise you. Marriage is a means to an end. There is something else in sight which I'm not able to do on my own. I need help. You need help. Let us help one another. So it's a journey of self-discovery through an intimate connection, a committed partnership with another person, a significant person in your life. So if you can commit to one person, and if you can, you can you can make a successful relationship by bearing with their ragadveshas and them bearing with tolerating your ragadveshas. It is a success. That means you can conquer your ragadveshas, and they bring out the best in you under ideal conditions, and you bring out the best in them. And so the essence of a Hindu, a Vedic marriage, is a marriage that is outgrown. It's not a marriage that is, it's a marriage that is outgrown. It has fulfilled its purpose. You can continue to stay together, or like Yajnavalkya, you can say, I'm going. But then that is immaterial. But the purpose, the purpose for which the marriage has been, performed, has accomplished itself. This is wonderful. And this we still see in the older generations, grandmother, grandfather, like if you have grown up with your grandfather or grandmother, in the couple of generations ago, you would still see this. The grandmother would, I have seen this in my own life. The grandmother would have her own life. And the grandfather would go for a walk, and he had his friends, and he had his whatever, he read the paper, he did his own thing. She had her puja, he would have his puja, they would do whatever. And then they would come together at lunchtime, you know. And then, there are all these, what is that, they're sitting there, the food is being served, and there are all these religious, whatever, diktats that they don't take each other's name for respect. The wife doesn't take the husband's name, the husband also doesn't take the wife's name, you know. And so they look at each other and just acknowledge okay, you are still alive, okay, fine. That's all it is. I have never heard the grandmother, grandfather, great grandmother, great grandfather say to one another, we need to work on this relationship. We need to spend quality time together. This is not something that is there in an Indian marriage of the elderly. It is not there at all. And the reason why it is not there is found in this Upanishad. You see this here, Sakshat, you see this directly. Because, you see how the institution of marriage has fulfilled its purpose, and they are ready to drop the institution, both of them. He says, I want to put an end to this relationship. She says, I'm there already. Oh, Bhagavan, now you are my guru. I have put an end to the relationship first. Awesome. And so here you see, you see the Hindu culture, the Vaidika culture at best. And so no wonder Yajnavalkya is jumping up and down. He knows all this. And his love for her has increased by leaps and bounds. And very lovingly he says, Priyam bhashase. You are whispering, it's almost like you are whispering sweet nothings into my ears. When you say you want this knowledge, that is the effect it is having on me. I am so delighted. And then he calls her with utmost love, Ehi. Ehi means, come to me, come closer. Perhaps she was standing there. Perhaps she was sitting a little further distant. But then he says, come closer to me. Ehi, sit by my side. Asva, please sit next to me. Sit by my side. And then what? Vyakhyāsyāmi te. Of course, Vyakhyāsyāmi means I will definitely teach you. I will not only teach you. Vyakhya means, Vyakhyanam is I will give discourses. And I won't go until and unless you say, enough, I have understood this. I will teach you. Vyakhyāsyāmi means I am going to teach you until there is nothing more for you to understand, until you understand this extremely fully and completely and well. I am going to give this to you. And then what? However, I want something from you. What is it that you want? He says, Vyachakshanasya mama, vakyani. So, my words which have been unfolded, which are going to be unfolded to you, however, your job is to contemplate nididhyasasva. The root verb again is dhyai, from dhyana, from which the word dhyanam, meditation, contemplation comes. Nishchayena dhyayasva nididhyayasva. So nishchayena dhyayasva, make this knowledge your own. I'm going to give you the kernel of the teachings. I'm going to give it to you, not just the kernel, I'm going to unfold it, everything. I'm going to sow the seed, water it in front of you, let the knowledge flower and let it have fruits. And what is your job? Pluck the fruits and eat them. That is what is your job, you know. And so, nididhyasasva, your job is to continue on this path and revel in this knowledge. This is what he says. Now, let us go to the vārtika and see how in the words, in the beautiful lilting verses of Acharya Suresvara, how does he bring forth this message of Yajnavalkya to Maitreyi, and what are the blanks that he is going to fill in? Because here again there is no segue. Like for example, between Maitreyi's talk in mantra number 3, where she says, Bruhi, tell me this. He doesn't say why he didn't teach this before, nothing he tells. But here, he is, in the Vārtika, there is a lot of space for Suresvaracharya to put words in Yajnavalkya's mouth. Very beautiful verses are coming up in starting 64, 65. Let us read. Okay, let us chant. संसारपुरुषार्थेभ्यः यतो नाव्युत्थितात्मने संसारपुरुषार्थेभ्यो यतो नाव्युत्थितात्मने मुक्त्यैकसाधनं ज्ञानं दातुं शक्यमिदं मया मुक्त्यैकसाधनं ज्ञानं दातुं शक्यमिदं मया. So, first thing he does is makes a confession. In fact, he makes 2 confessions. The first confession is that, my darling, I was not able to give you this knowledge because, there is an injunction in the Upanishad. Don't give this knowledge to the one who is not ready. Ashishyaya adeyam, to quote the Kathopanishad. Ashishyaya, the one who is not a disciple, adeyam, it should not be given. It should not be given to one who is not a disciple. This is one of the conditions which is told in the Upanishad itself. And then what is another condition? This is from the Shvetashvatara, again from the Kathopanishad. Na avirato duscharitat. The one who has not returned from leading an adharmic life. The one who has not turned the back to adharma. Meaning the one who has no attitudes, values, ethics, etc. To such a person don't give, because then this knowledge will become dangerous. Dangerous. Because, because this knowledge is, I am not the doer. Then if you give it to someone who is, who is very adharmic, then it will become the defense of every serial killer. A serial killer will say, I am akarta, I have not done anything because I am not the doer. Wrong, very wrong. It will become dangerous. It will become a license to do more adharma. So therefore, na avirato duscharitat. So don't give it to somebody who is not, who has not returned from and who has not committed to dharma. Then one more condition is there. Don't give it to somebody, don't give this knowledge to somebody who is completely into karma, who is always doing something, and then you tell them, sit down, listen. No, I am busy, I am doing. Always there will be something to do. And maybe first few lectures they will take and then they will drop off, or something will happen, or the enthusiasm and the perseverance is not there. In fact, that rover, the new rover, is better because it's called Perseverance. So, like this, we have to see this, that this is all the injunctions of the Upanishad. Don't give it to people who are not interested in this. And don't, above all, one more condition, don't give it to people who are only interested in artha and kama pursuits. Artha, security; kama, all kinds of other, ego boost and status and name, fame, whatever they are pursuing. Don't give it to them. And even the Bhagavad Gita reiterates the message of the Upanishad. You know, न बुद्धि भेदम जनयेत अज्ञानिनाम कर्म संगिनाम. Don't confuse the people who are not interested in this at all, because they are, because then they will be neither here nor there. Don't confuse the people. And so therefore what? So therefore we have a very, we have all these injunctions, and therefore the Yajnavalkya here takes this recourse to the verses from the Shruti that say don't give it to somebody who is not ready for this knowledge. And so he expresses it in this way: samsara purusharthebhyah. So the one who yatah na vyuthitatmane. Vyuthitatmana means the one who has lifted oneself up. Atma here is not Atma, the one whose mind, etc., is not lifted out of what? Samsara Purushartha. Purushartha, goal. Sarvaihi Purushaihi Arthyate. Purushartha. So that which is, the goals that are universal to all beings, all human beings. This is what is called Purushartha. And so these Purusharthas, Dharma and Moksha are not talked about here. That's why he is qualifying the word Purushartha by Samsara Purusharthebhyah. So the one who has not lifted oneself from Artha and Kama pursuits. This is the problem, because the one who is completely embroiled in samsara, means what? Action, and then reaction, and then a redo, and then a makeover, and then another makeover, a do-over. It's always a do-over. First you are a do-over, first you are a doer, and then you have to do it over and over and over again. So this is the problem. And so therefore what? So samsara purusharthebhyah na vyuthitatmane. So yataha means because, na vyuthitatmane, the one who has not lifted themselves out of the addiction to the time bound, the addiction to name, fame, possessions, and in other words, the one who is not queried even a little bit the nature of the self, the one who is not inquired into even slightly the nature of why am I keeping on doing this? I want something infinite and forever, and I'm always dealing with a finite. What is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? The one who has not even done the slightest amount of self enquiry. No query, only very querulous, always complaining, keeping on complaining. So unto such a person, muktyaika sadhanam jnanam datum na shakyam idam maya. That na has to be brought down again. So samsara purusharthebhyah, the one who is not sick of samsara, to that person, by me, it is not possible to impart this knowledge. Why? You are some big fellow or what? No, no, no. This is what the Upanishad says. I'm just following the Upanishad. I'm not having some ego about, teaching a few students and not somebody else. In fact, Yajnavalkya had a lot of disciples. In the Upanishad itself, it is pointed out. He had lot of disciples, and so here samsara purusharthebhyah yatah na vyuthitatmane. So the one who has not given up artha kama pursuits, pursuing small things and making them into big things. pursuing the finite and trying to convert it constantly into the infinite. This is what is arthakama pursuit, a dead end pursuit that leaves one deadened to moksha. This is what it is. And so, therefore, he says, I am sorry. I was not able to impart this knowledge. I'm not allowed to impart this knowledge to the one who has not returned and given up this samsara pursuits. And then he continues, Na shakyam datum, I'm just not made up of that stuff. I'm not able to give this knowledge because I take the words of the Upanishad seriously, and the Upanishad says, do not give this knowledge to anyone. And then further he says, amumukshutvam amumukshutvam ashankya amumukshutvam ashankya bhavatyaitat praditsitam bhavatyaitat praditsitam samsarachet viraktasi samsarachet viraktasi grihananuttamamritam grihananuttamamritam. I'm sorry, oh Maitreyi. Amumukshutvam ashankya. Ashankya, doubting you, assuming you to be what? Not a mumukshu. Mumukshu means the seeker of knowledge, seeker of freedom. Amumukshutvam ashankya, suspecting that you were not a mumukshu. And he's so free. He's confessing. He's putting all his cards on the table. He says, I took you for granted. I saw whenever emerged from my meditation, here you were making coffee for me. Here you were serving me lunch or dinner. Here you were washing my clothes or sewing my clothes, or, sewing my shirt or stitching buttons or something. Or you were feeding the chickens outside, or you were doing something all the time. How I had no idea that in fact you had given up your own desire to meditate, and and you are in fact even greater than I am, because you allowed me to meditate while fully well knowing that this is the life that you also needed and wanted to lead. So amumukshutvam ashankya. So seeing you fooled me. You totally fooled me, because you just behaved like every other person in the world. You were a good wife. Definitely, you were a good spouse. You were a spouse par excellence. I had no complaints. All my needs were met, more than met. You served me with love, and you did all your job. Maybe you were a mother, maybe you were maybe you were a friend. Everything, all your roles were perfectly fulfilled. How am I to know? You really fooled me. How am I to know that in this heart that was given to service, was beating the desire for moksha? How would I know this? Thank you for telling me this, because I had no way of knowing. Look at me. Look at what a selfish man I have been. And look at my thinking, which is the gift of the times in which I have lived. We don't think of women as mumukshus, much less jnanis. We don't think of women as wanting this knowledge. And I also did not think of you as wanting this knowledge. He's confessing this. Look at his honesty here. That's why he's a jnani. Otherwise, somebody else would have made up some other story. Yeah, I was writing a book. I was busy. That's why I didn't teach you. Or I was going to test you. That's why I gave you the money. I had to test whether you were ready or not. No, he doesn't couch his own patriarchal thoughts and his own sexism in some kind of a flowery language. He's very honest. He said, yes, I'm a typical Indian husband. I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. I didn't take your desire seriously, much less it was even given, I was even aware of it. So then, and therefore he says, bhavatyai tat praditsitam. So therefore, everything in the whole world that you wanted, I wanted for you to get this. And therefore what? Therefore, I just, I just gave you this wealth. If you have vairagya from samsara, if samsara does not thrill you anymore, then come here, sit by me, and then I will teach you. Grihana, I'm going to give this to you. Please take this knowledge. What is this knowledge? Anuttamam Amritam. This incomparable immortality. Incomparable because there's nothing like it. It is you. There's nothing like you. This self-effulgent Atma that you are. I'm going to unfold the teaching connected to that. You know? And so he says, I have made a big mistake here. And what is this mistake? I took you for granted. And here I was, in all my ego, saying I'm going to drop the role of the husband. And what? Well, I dropped the role of the husband, all right, but I did not drop my view of you as a wife. I could not drop that. And thank you for teaching this to me. This is Yajnavalkya's, gacha gacha moment with the same thing that Adi Shankara had. The story goes, we don't know whether it is true or not. Adi Shankara emerges from bathing in the Ganga. Along with a few disciples, he is coming on the ghat, the place where you just step off the river and you walk this narrow path and then you are back on the road. And in the narrow path, this Chandala, the funeral groundskeeper, who is considered very impure because of the job that he did in those days. The funeral groundskeeper Chandala comes and stands in front of him. And then what? The students of Adi Shankara say, Gacha, Gacha! Go, 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 go! Great sadhu is coming! Leave, leave, leave! Part the way! You are not supposed to be here. And the Chandala, again does a karate move. The Chandala is a great Vedantin. The Chandala says, who are you saying Gacha, Gacha to? Annamayat, Annamayam, Duri kartum vanchasi kim? Are you trying to make this body of flesh, blood, bones, and excreta waste away from that body which is also full of, blood, bones, excreta, muscles, and waste? So, because what? They are both the blessing of, Panchabhutas. They are both products of the five elements, Annamaya. It is a product of food that we eat, which is the gift of the five elements. Okay, you are a great sadhu, you are eating roots and fruits and acai berries and antioxidants, and that's what you're sitting there. And I'm eating anything that swims, flies, creeps, crawls, whatever, but still, you are also eating something, I am also eating something. If you poke me blood, same blood will come. Maybe you'll need a donation and then I'll be the only match. Who knows? What are you going to do then? Or, so are you trying to make this body of flesh, keep a distance from that body of flesh, which is really not flesh and blood and bones, but which is, what is that? Panchabhutas, which are the five elements, where you are breathing the same air, where we are walking the same earth. Or, that is bad enough. Or, Mr. Adi Shankara, are you trying to distance, the Atma from the Atma? Please tell me that. That would be even worse. And, and Adi Shankara falls at his feet and says, whoever knows this is my Guru. Eshaha Guru Mama. Definitely, such a person is my Guru. This is the subject matter of a fantastic text that, I want everybody to study. It is called, Manisha Panchakam. Very beautiful. A quintet made of this kind of a thing. So that, see, these are all, we don't know if this happened or not, whether it's true, because then there are stories that the Chandala was Shiva. Chandala may have just been a Chandala who knew Vedanta. That's enough for us. Whether he was Shiva or not doesn't matter. That's not the part of the story that is, that is pertinent here. So, everybody, in the process of this knowledge, you have to reckon the inner ghouls. Any kind of a, any kind of a discrimination or any kind of a, thing is very, is a deterrent to assimilating this knowledge. And Yajnavalkya, who was going off to the forest to meditate, or to the Himalayas or the mountains to meditate, had his Vedanta lesson, had his Gacha Gacha moment, thanks to an ideal wife in Maitreyi. And so, therefore, now he has agreed to teach her. And now there are a few more verses where Yajnavalkya talks about this, his delight in the fact that she wants to follow his footsteps, and we will see that in the next class. So the next class is what is the same time or different time? Which is that? The next class would be the evening class. That's not affected. The Saturday morning class, again I want to reiterate, will meet 1.5 hours later. So whichever time zone you are at, and it has been meeting at 8 East Coast time, so it will meet 1.5 hours later. People in the coast are very happy. Maybe people in the east coast are also very happy. Who knows? But anyhow, this is Ganesha's present to all of you. Enjoy. Okay. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. If there are any questions, you can ask. Is this a general problem with Hinduism or Vaidika Dharma for not having an innate missionary character? Hinduism waits for mumukshus to come to it rather than go out and spread. Yes, yes, it's not a problem. It's an asset. Yeah, it's an asset. It's not a problem at all. Thank God. Because really I can't convert you to yourself, because what I teach you is about yourself. And if I teach you about yourself when you are not ready, then nothing happens. I might as well save my breath and do something else. So when you are ready, you will come. This is what the whole thing is. And the person will get ready, because that is why the human life is given, which is a wonderful present from Bhagavan. And then so the mumukshu comes. But see, that is the teaching portion of the second portion of the Veda. The first portion, one is taught. One learns Hinduism by osmosis. You learn, the rituals, how to do puja, how to basically do some small basic meditation, how to do all this. You learn from your parents. I learnt yoga also like that. Saw people elders doing yoga at home, and then all of us children, we would just go into this, adho mukha shvanasana, all these things, we would do that. So you learn this by osmosis, and then when you are ready, when when those rituals and all fructify into the desire for knowledge, you yourself find a teacher. Otherwise this knowledge has no meaning. Otherwise you'll take it for granted. Yeah. Good question. Very good question. There's another question from Shanti Kumar in the chat box. Yeah, let's see where it is. Shanti Kumar, what did you ask? Open your mic and say. Found it, doesn't matter. When Yajnavalkya was a jnani, then why does he have to go for... yeah, that's a good question. Why does he have to go to the forest for self-enquiry? He is not going for self-enquiry. He is going to abide in this knowledge. He is going to rid the knowledge of all, what is that called? Vagueness, doubts and errors. That's different. He knows. Otherwise he wouldn't be teaching Maitreyi, which he is going to do now. He knows. There's no doubt in the mind that he knows. But he wants to sit with the knowledge and rid it of all the doubts. And viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana means habitual tendencies, like taking his wife for granted, that we saw here. So like falling into certain habits. And so therefore he wants to, that's why he needs to go to the forest for, it's not for self enquiry, it's to have abidance, nishtha, nitaram sthiti, to abide in the knowledge. Okay, there is a difference. If he needed the knowledge, then he need not go to the forest, he needs to find a teacher. Forest you go when you know the Atma enough to revel in it. This is what I was trying to talk about. Very good, a very good question. Okay, anything else? Question of YouTube from Narayanan. Does a student choose a guru? Yes, Narayanan, absolutely. You don't wait for the teacher to this is not some kind of a what is that, high school prom. Who will choose me? Yeah, this is some kind of a spiritual romanticism. You have to choose. But then if you say, what if I make a mistake? The Mundakopanishad, gives certain very good criteria. Choose somebody from a sound lineage. Not a lineage that makes a lot of sound. That's not how the compound is resolved. Yeah. But a lineage that does not distort the Advaita, does not distort Advaita, the vision of Advaita. And therefore, what do? We seek a teacher who belongs to the sound lineage. The teacher may not be charismatic, the teacher may not be like, some, big wig. But the teacher should know how to teach. That teacher will know how to teach because they have gained it from their teacher. So that is called Shrotriya, coming from a sound lineage and has been well taught, who can communicate the methodology and the knowledge side by side in one go. And then the second one is Brahmanistha. The teacher must not have several irons on the fire. One hand doing this, one hand doing that, and I watching the stock market, and another hand doing this and that, and then little bit of time for Brahman. No, but it's very difficult to see who is a Brahmanistha, so better go with Shrotriya. Ideally, the teacher should be both Shrotriya and Brahmanistha. So then, even if you make a mistake, even if you choose the wrong teacher, but your Shraddha will protect you, your reverence and devotion will protect you, and Bhagavan will get rid of the karma quickly of going with the wrong teacher and lead you to the right teacher. Okay? Yeah, that is what generally happens. Yeah. All the best. See you later.